Welcome everyone to Humanity's Heart. My name is Dr. Robyn Mills, and my intention for today is to engage, energise and expand your heart. And I'm really excited to introduce my special guest to you today. Lisa Murray is a transformational coach for conscious creative visionaries. And I've been to her website. It was really, you got that essence of who she is by looking at her website. And her vision is for you to know the truth of who you are and for you to create whatever makes you thrilled to be alive. How amazing is that? Thrilled to be alive. It's so beautiful. Not just trudging the boards, but thrilled to be alive. Lisa's work is an unconventional mix of mystical and entrepreneurial. I'm reading that, so that's a hard word to say, isn't it? She's been creating businesses since she was 8 years old. And in the last 10 years, she's written 2 books, and I love these titles. Stop Waiting, Start Creating, and Living Beyond Burnout. And that one, certainly that title rang true for me. She's created over 150 courses, retreats and live events globally. And you can find her at www.lisamurray.co. Amazing. Lisa, welcome. I'm so happy to be interviewing you this morning.
Hi, Robyn. It's great to be here. How much fun can we have?
We can have a lot of fun. That bio is just incredible. I'm wondering how you got to this point in your life.
Oh, gosh.
There's a question.
Well, yeah, there is a question. Let's just see what the short version might be. I worked in corporate for a long time and did all sorts of different jobs. Like, I'm quite multi-creative. And then I got burnout for the 3rd time. And I didn't actually know the first 2 times were burnout. And in fact, I didn't know the 3rd time was burnout until, a bit later down the track. And when I say burnout, the kind where you can't speak, where you can't put your sentences together, where you kind of look at the world and you're going, what? So I was pretty much like, okay, I think my corporate career is done. I'm obviously in the wrong place here. And so I quit my job and I did go and get some help, on the burnout side of things. And that took a while because my body and my brain, my neural pathways were not coming back. And it didn't seem to matter what I tried. And I ended up getting it sorted out mostly energetically, actually, but energetically and big changes in my life. Because I realized I really wasn't on track for what I was supposed to be doing. And I think this is common with a lot of people who go through some kind of, health issue, is that it's a path. It's basically trying to put you back on, or not even back, but onto the path that you're here to be on. And so for me, I started coaching, first of all, business coaching originally. And I still do some of that because it's fun. I pretty much look at my life as I'll do it if it's fun. That's really how I function. And what was interesting about that was I would lie in my hammock with my dog and I would go, okay, which networking events should I go to this week to find clients? And I would get a little ping of which ones energetically. Off I'd go and there'd be a client there for me. And so that's kind of how I made my transition out of the corporate world. And then, of course, as that went on, I realized there were so many more things I was interested in, because I think one of the things that happens when you have burnout is you lose that sense of self. You lose that sense of, oh, this is who I am and this is what I'm here for. And so I've been on this very diverse journey over this last 10 or 12 years of really exploring all the things I'm interested in. And that's taken me, I've run a lot of events overseas in about 15 different countries. And I've got to do a lot of things, like just really randomly in a way that have been really fun. And yeah, run a lot of different classes and on all sorts of different topics, from like writing to creativity to, funnily enough, not much about burnout. Even though I wrote the book, I wasn't that excited about talking about it, really, So yeah, lots of different things. So it's just been this thing of, well, what's next? And a lot of curiosity in that process, and really learning for myself that my energetic capacities are quite strong, and that I really have a sorry, I can't think of the word. It's like a really clear way of getting to the exact point, the exact point of the issue that someone is facing. Like it's like an energetic awareness that just hones in and it goes, oh, that energy there, these are the words that match it. And so, you know, I've spent a lot of time unhooking people from all sorts of things, and yeah, it's fun. And that's the transformational bit, you know.
When I hear you talk, I imagine that, you know, as you're going through life, you build yourself up in the corporate world, and I've certainly been in that place. And if you imagine a channel and that channel becoming clogged over time, that's how, when I hear you speak, that's how I feel about burnout. And then when you redirect that path to where you're meant to be, that this beautiful energy flows. And it might be a trickle at first, do you think? A little trickle. And then when you're really on your path, it starts flowing. And then you just, it's like adjusting it, isn't it? To keep that flow flowing beautifully. And look at that joy on your face. You know, I can see that you have that beautiful energy flowing through you all the time now. And it's evident in your paintings behind your head, that beautiful colour. You know, you can sense that that's that open path and you being in the place that you're meant to be.
Yeah, you know, it's very interesting because if you look at photos of me from, you know, let's just say just about the time I was getting the burnout,
Yeah.
I look more dead than alive.
Wow.
Like I do not, I look better now than I did then. I got a few more wrinkles now, but I tell you what, I look a lot better now because there's that thing where there's no aliveness in the being,
Yes.
because I was very stifled and I wasn't really able to be who I am in that environment. You know, I'm very magical and I'm very creative, and I was being given things like create strategic plans and, you know, sort out budgets, and those things are fine, I can do them, but they're not truly who I am, you know.
Yes. So what makes your heart sing? Like today, what would you do that would make your heart sing?
Oh, so many things. You know, for me, I love writing. Like I love, and when I say I love writing from that very magical, mystical space where you go into all the other worlds, as I would call them,
Yeah.
other dimensions. You know, so I love writing, and I love nonfiction writing as well. Funnily enough, like it's all fun for me. You know, words, energy, I'm happy. So I definitely, you know, a lot of what is in my heart is to come through my heart, comes through the writing. But if you look at the paintings, they're highly energetic. And so when I do them, it's just a very meditative thing for me. And I just do them when I feel it and they come, you know, and I don't really have a sense of what they're supposed to be. But what I do know is when people sit with them, like they'll come to my house and they'll be like, I'm mesmerized by that painting. I'm like, yeah, because it's giving you something, you know. And so for me, it's just like it is a flow of energy, as you were describing. And it's literally, I look at it that the energy we have in our hearts is unlimited. It comes through the universe, through us, in our expression to whoever is willing to receive that. And it can come in any form. It can come from just speaking as we are now. It can come through art, through writing, through kindness, through all kinds of different things.
And kindness is something that's beginning to be a lot more prevalent in the world right now. You often hear the word kindness being spoken, random acts of kindness, for example. And I think when you're giving out to someone else like that from the heart, it can only enrich your own heart.
Yeah. You know, I was just on Clubhouse before we were talking, and we were talking about anchoring the future with abundance or through abundance. And one of the conversations that came up was kindness, and how if we all are kind both to ourselves and to others, then there is plenty for all. You know, there's no lack if everyone functions from kindness.
And I love the way that you talk about it as a collective future. And I think no more prevalent than now do we have to come together for humanity to survive. We all have to work in it together. And I like to say that at the level of the heart, we're all the same. Our heart beats as one. So that for me is the same words as you saying, you know, our collective future, working together. This is, you know, the vibration that we're all humans here on the planet, and we need to have this collective future that we could bring abundance to everyone. It doesn't have to be that I can have something but you can't have it because I've got it. I love
Mm.
that collective. Would you like to talk more about a collective future?
Yeah. I feel like each one of us has come to the planet with very specific collection of gifts, and that they only really unfurl fully when we bring them in community. Like, and there are probably a few rare people who their gifts are better brought individually, but in most cases, when we bring them in community, when we bring them with other people in collaboration, in co-creation, then we bring them in a way that is inclusive. And I feel that's very important because, you know, we've been living in a world for a long time that has been about competition, that has been about pitting people against each other. And I don't believe that's a sustainable model, you know. And so this whole idea of, yeah, the collective future is really about going, how do we come together? And how do we contribute to each other with generosity, with kindness, with honor, you know, with
Mm.
gratitude for who we are. And to do that, we have to drop the judgment, we have to drop the I'm better than you know, all those kinds of energies that we've been rewarded for in the past. You know, there's this very consumerist society that is all about making sure you look better than other people. And it's killing our planet and it's killing us, it's killing our hearts if we continue to work in that realm, you know?
It is killing our hearts. And I think if you look at the work environment, the hierarchical nature of a corporate environment where it's a more dog eat dog, you know, if you put someone else down, you might be able to put yourself up. But in this new world that we're creating of collective consciousness, that being so proud if one of your friends or colleague might be a better word, gets promoted or gets to do a new job, even if you wanted it yourself, that you're just proud of the person. This is an environment where we could create where everybody flourished. Imagine if you could work anywhere and feel like you're able to flourish, but so is everyone else in the organization. And that's where I see in the workplace the collective consciousness.
I think that's what true leadership is. And all these theories of leadership that have come through in this last 50 or 100 years have missed this point quite dynamically. Even if you look at servant leadership, it is still not at that level because there's still an under and an over. And I think that we need to bring an equality. And you know, there's a lot of sort of arguments about what equality means. But for me, it's an inclusiveness that each one of us has something to bring to the table. And when we allow each person to bring what they can bring rather than trying to fit them into a box of what you want them to bring that's nothing to do with who they are, you know, then I think we've actually got a platform from which we can begin to really create with a lot less resources. Because it's funny that there's all this talk about efficiency, but it doesn't work the way people think it does.
How does it work?
Well, I think it works by allowing people to work fully in their gifts and their magic. Because in that place, if every person works in that way, they're efficient, right?
Yep,
Because they're
yep,
fully,
yep.
they're not fighting anything. They're not trying to be something. They're being it. They're having the joy in it. They're engaging with others from a space of enoughness. And of course, you don't have to fight for what you want and what you need if you're coming from a space of enoughness. It's already there. And and you don't have to want what someone else has either, because of course you have what you want.
You know, when you're speaking, I'm just imagining that word synergism, you know, where the sum of the parts creates way more than the individual would ever have. It's as though the collective energy just takes you further than ever you could possibly come on your own. So when I looked at your website, I saw that what you love to do is help people find the gift that they have, that they've been given. And when I say gift, it could be multiple gifts. So I'm wondering if you can speak to how you would help someone find the purpose, the gift that they're meant to be here, what they're meant to be doing.
Yeah. Well, I do it in a lot of different ways because often people are not very far off track Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're like so far from the track, they're like going around in circles, you know?
Yeah.
But other times they're actually quite close, but they haven't found a way to make it sustainable, you know, from either a financial point of view or, you know, from their time or whatever. So my first port of call normally is to ask them some questions because I can read the energy so clearly. And when I say that, I'm not psychic in that predictive kind of, I am a futurist, right? So I'm aware of what the future could be, but I
Yes.
would never call myself psychic in that predictive kind of, you know, you're going to get married and have 3 kids way that
Yeah,
people
yeah,
want,
yeah,
you know,
yes,
that's not
yes.
my gig. But what I am really good at is sensing who this person can be and then asking them some questions to see, well, who do they want to be? What are they willing to step into? And then let's find a really pragmatic path for that to begin to take shape. And what I find is that there's many ways you can do that, you know, and every person I work with, it's quite different, in fact. But for example, like, and I don't know when you're going to air this, but I'm about to create a class called Write the Future Alive, because for some people, all they need to do is imagine a future they would like to have, whether it be personally or collectively, and they, in that writing it down, you know, and you can write that through a fiction story, you know, through a fable, through dot points, you can write it in any way you choose. Through that process, you get really clear about what you do desire and who you desire to be, because I think a lot of this is about bringing ourselves closer to who we desire to be, because when we want something, there's this lack energy there. And so, you know, and for me, for example, when I was in that career transition phase, I thought I wanted to be a consultant because it was the only job that looked even the least bit interesting to me. But of course, you know, you had to have an MBA and you had to do all these things. And then I got the MBA and then I realized that I couldn't think of anything worse, you know, but what I loved about that was the creative energy of doing different things all the time. But no one pointed that out to me. I had to work that out myself, and it took a long time. And what I am really good at is looking at, well, what do you want to do that for? What's that thing? What's the appeal of that thing? And what's underneath it? What's really underneath it? What's driving you? And then what does your soul want? What does your heart want?
Mm.
And then let's see how we bring all of that together in a way that brings you joy, because I don't believe in suffering through life. Like, you know, when you said at the beginning of my bio about being thrilled to be alive, I truly believe that's how it should be. And anything that takes us out of that joy, that playfulness, that really energized state, it's time for a course correction, in essence. So that's, you know, in a very broad sense, how I play with that. And it is different for every person. And I run all sorts of different programs, but they all have this underpinning of taking to people to where they can be rather than where they think they should be because they're trying to fit in.
That's really beautiful. And can you just give people your website again, because it is really well worth visiting?
Yes, lisamurray.co.
It's easy, isn't it? That's really
Yes,
great.
it is. It is.
So, Lisa, I'm wondering if you could imagine now that you're towards the end of your life and you look back,
Mm.
I'm wondering what your proudest moment is going to be,
Ooh.
and what your heart,
Ooh.
and the second part is what your heart would say about how you lived your life.
Wow. You know, it's funny, it makes me quite emotional. And um, like on one sense, I can go to this really cognitive place of there's some fiction books I'm writing, or should I say co-writing with the dragon realms. And dragons are beings of pure heart. And that's really what made me say yes to your interview was, oh, we're in the right place here, you know.
Yeah.
And I know that when I bring through those energies fully, they will be transformational at scale. Let's just say that. And so that I feel is very, you know, something to be proud of. And I also think, you know, the love I have with the people around me, because that's the day-to-day magic, you know, and no matter what we create in the world, there's still this the people that are close to you. And what I'm finding is the closer I become to who I truly am, you know, the authentic me, without hiding the weird me, let's just say, because, I am a little strange in places, the more people I have in my life where there's that really strong, heartfelt connection. And I think for all of us, that's very life affirming.
Yeah. So what would your heart say about your life looking back? What would your heart say about who you are?
It was a wild ride.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And, when you speak, I can feel your heart in your face. I often say to people to take their ears down and place them down here so they hear with the heart, but also to place that heart where your face is, because you can see the joy. You can see that you're not just speaking the words, but you're actually living them. I can feel them. I can see them on your face. And that should be an incredible inspiration for the people that are viewing this, that truly to live a thrilling life, a life where you wake up every morning and go, what's on for today, in comparison to what might have been, oh, I've got to go to work today. It's a massive shift. Wouldn't you want that for everyone on the planet, to wake up with joy?
I do want that for everyone on the planet, actually.
Yeah.
Because, when you move to that space, and I'm going to say it took some work. I will say that,
Yeah.
like from where I was to here, it definitely took some work, a lot of inner work and a lot of outer work, but not hard work, because I think people mistake those two things. There's work and then there's hard work, and they're very different.
Yeah.
And yes, the joy, like imagine a world where everyone woke up happy. It'd be so cool.
Incredible. And where countries didn't fight each other and think, the beliefs are so far apart that people can't embrace the differences. Imagine if you didn't have to fight to get what you wanted. You just had to say, universe, this is what I'll have today. Thank you. I'm prepared to put energy in to make it happen, but this is what I want. And I want to do it with an open heart, with love, and with peace. I think for me, Lisa, having grandchildren was a pivotal point for me, because the love that you get from a grandchild is so unconditional, without as many responsibilities. And so it allows you to be free in your love. And, my 6 grandchildren, I've got the 6th on the way, just bring me so much joy. And that opened my heart, changed who I was, changed me forever. And now I can give that love back and help them expand their hearts so that they go through the world making the difference they're meant to make and loving life. My kids will say to you that, I might have said to them, no, you can't have the blue one because I've already given you the red one. And now if my grandchildren say, but I want the red one, I go, how many red ones would you like?
Yeah, totally.
Go
Sorry,
on.
go on.
No, you go on.
Well, I was just going to say, I have a dear friend, and she has a little boy. He was 2 last week, and I used to energetically work on her when he was in the womb, and so and I literally held him when he was 2 days old, and so I have this real connection with him. And I was having a very rough day about a week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago now, I can't remember. And I went to see them, and he giggled at me for 5 hours straight. And I walked away from there just absolutely delighted with the world again. I was like, that hard thing, it'll get sorted out. It'll get sorted out. And it was just incredible, because it's that purity of heart where they haven't yet learned that the world isn't always fun. And I think that as adults, part of our job is to return to that place knowing the world's not fun and still with an open heart.
And that is absolutely the whole point, isn't it? To get back to that pure love. And as an adult, I slip into it, I slip out of it. I'm not always this perfect, loving humanity's heart being, but I just have to keep bringing myself back to my centre. And then it becomes easier over time, doesn't it? Your buttons don't get pushed quite as much. The more you're in your heart space, the less reactive that you are. Unless there's a lot of noise. I'm not good with noise, but what I love is that the purity that my grandchildren are teaching me is something that we can all have, and that we can all make the world a better place if we vibrate love and understanding and acceptance to each other, and less prejudice, less judgment. Judgment's one of those things that I think you have to work on over time. Do you
Mm.
think that's true, Lisa?
Oh gosh, yes. Yes, because we're taught to be in our mind. And
Mm.
what does the mind do? It judges because it doesn't really know what its job is. I think we have to really give the mind a new job. That's often what I teach people to do because, you know, a lot of people who are overthinkers come to me because that was also my history. And, you know, when we really retrain the mind to be the, you know, to do the heart's bidding, the heart's request, it's a very different life. The tip I'd love to give people about, you know, judgment and how to get out of it is that you can't hold judgment and gratitude at the same time. So every time you go to judge, you want to swap it out for some gratitude. And it takes practice in the beginning because you don't realize how automatic the judgment is. But over time, what I noticed was I didn't actually like the energy of judgment. It was just a habit. And once I started swapping it out for the gratitude, it became actually a lot easier. And I realized that my whole life was better because of it. Because judgment doesn't really create, it kills, you know, energy, it kills people actually. It's a burden.
It
So
does kill people. Yes.
yeah, yeah. And so when we swap it out for gratitude, gratitude is life-giving.
Mm. And this needs to come right back to our educators and our preschool, you know, wherever we see a small child being critical of another or a parent being critical of another. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to make that shift for humanity. You know, I make sure that when I see my little granddaughter who just lives within a couple of meters of where I am, that, you know, we start the day with, I love you. And she's 3 and she loves to do that back. So now it's an automatic response when she sees me to go, I love you. And so whenever we meet, we use loving words, we use kind words. If we're looking at someone down the street, we go, look at that beautiful coat, or, you know, we just might say something positive about those people so that it's always building that, that warm, open-hearted engagement with other people to be able to walk up to another child. And my granddaughter's shy, but teaching her to walk up and go, hello, my name's Emily, you know, and speaking from the heart. So we can actually begin this journey from the tiny little children and the babies that we're showering with love all the way through to adulthood. Yeah.
Yeah. Because wouldn't it be a beautiful world if the kids that are kids now don't have to spend, you know, half their adult life
Yeah.
undoing what they they learnt, you know, in their childhood? It would be a very different world.
And we'd
Yeah.
be unemployed because
That
we
would be fine by
yeah.
me. I would just want fun things, you know? Paint pictures, whatever. Yeah,
To
there's
be able to
always
teach
something.
people joy, I'm sorry I spoke over you, Lisa, but to be able to teach people joy, to be able to feel that glow in your heart, that I guess that's my dream for people, that they get to feel part of humanity as a whole and feel that our hearts beat all the same. That's where I want to go. And I think social media, although this is a platform we're using today, and we're going to be excited that our words and our visions get out there to people, but of course we know that it can also be used to hurt people's feelings.
Mm.
So I feel like the more we get the joy out in shows like this, the more we can counteract the negative and wash it out as though it's that pathway that's blocked, and we can flush it out with really putting as many beautiful things we can into the world.
Absolutely.
You know, I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I'd like to give you the opportunity as we come towards the end of our time to just check in with your heart and see if there's something else that you wanted to speak about today, or something that you'd like to say to everyone out there that's not coming from me.
Yeah. Look, you know, what it feels like to me is just to know in your heart that you always have a choice. Because I think sometimes in the harshness of the world, we forget that. We feel like there's only one way and it's not always a kind way. And what I've noticed is that even if someone is really badly behaved, we can acknowledge that, oh, that's not cool, but we can also go, hey, I've got choice to make a difference here. Because to me, anyone who's badly behaved, it's because they've learned that,
Yes.
you know. And when I say badly behaved, disrespectful, or, I don't like the word bad so much, it's a judgment,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
someone who's not behaving in a kind and honoring way, let's put it that way. It's like, okay, we all have choices. And so the choices we make do create. And just keeping acknowledging to ourselves, well, this looks really difficult and I don't know what the way through is, but if I had a choice, if I had a different choice, what could it be? And just allowing the opening up of the space.
So what that shows us, when I'm thinking about what you said, is that it means that there's people out there who have a gap in their learning. They've learned a certain way and now they just need to learn a new way so that they can relate to the world in a way that warms people's hearts rather than irritates people or blocks the energy. So it's a gap in the learning, Lisa.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah.
I just feel really warm and fuzzy after having an interview with you, because I can feel that you're a kindred spirit. You want to collectively have the world be a joyous and happy place where people feel thrilled to be alive. It's such a beautiful message. I feel inspired to live my best life having listened to you this morning. So I hope that today's interview with Lisa's energized, engaged, and expanded your heart. Thank you, Lisa, for allowing us to walk this journey together today.
Thanks so much, Robyn. It's been beautiful to talk to you. I've really enjoyed it as well.
Thank you. And until we meet again, may your heart beat to the rhythm of humanity's heart.
My heart, my open heart beats love for all the people in the world. My